Megyn Kelly reignited long-running speculation with a blunt question. Is Meghan Markle really 44, or is she actually over 50? That single remark revived online debates centered on photos, timelines, and records that some claim don't fully align. Critics often point to an early 2000s Northwestern University group photo where Meghan appears alongside classmates who now list birth years in the early 1970s, raising questions about age gaps. While supporters argue mixed-age university groups are common and Meghan's official birth date, August 4, 1981, has never been formally disputed, alternative years like 1977 continue to circulate online without verified proof. What remains isn't confirmation, but controversy, fueled by speculation, perception, and the scrutiny that follows highly polarizing public figures. Some critics push the speculation further, suggesting birth years as early as 1975 to 1977, which would make Meghan several years older than her stated age, an alleged gap they frame as missing time in a carefully curated biography. They often point to Archie's 2019 birth certificate, which was later amended to remove her given names and list only her royal title, fueling claims that even official records can be quietly revised, despite the palace calling it routine formatting. To skeptics, this moment symbolizes the idea that documents aren't always as fixed as they appear. Added to that is the perception that images from Meghan's early life seem limited and tightly managed compared to most public figures, an observation supporters dismiss as coincidence, but critics cite as further proof of a controlled narrative rather than confirmation of any wrongdoing. Take her 1999 senior portrait from Immaculate Heart High School. It's flawless, camera-ready, the kind of image that could sit comfortably in a glossy magazine. There's also the familiar group photo, Meghan in uniform beside her classmates. These pictures exist, no one denies that. But what stands out is when they resurface. Unlike most people's old photos, they don't emerge randomly. They appear in precise moments, during the launch of a royal biography, after a controversial interview, or just as renewed questions about her age begin circulating. The timing never feels accidental. Then there's the source trail. Some images come directly from alumni archives. Others suddenly appear through former classmates who stayed silent for years, only speaking up once a news story breaks. To casual observers, it looks like harmless nostalgia. But to critics, it feels orchestrated, as though select fragments of the past are being released strategically to reinforce a specific narrative. If high school memories can be surfaced this carefully, it raises an uncomfortable question. How much of Meghan's early life are we seeing organically, and how much is being revealed only when it's useful? Fast forward to early 2025, when Meghan's half-sister Samantha Markle revives her long-stalled defamation lawsuit. On paper, the case has nothing to do with age. It centers on public statements, family conflicts, and alleged reputational harm. But the timing raised eyebrows. Almost immediately after hearing dates were announced, headlines reignited the age debate. Gossip sites, entertainment media, even more mainstream outlets began circling the same question again. It followed a familiar pattern. Each time a legal dispute or public controversy involving Meghan gains traction, the age speculation resurfaces alongside it. Some believe this is intentional, using one headline to reopen unresolved questions from the past. Others say it's simply how media cycles work. When Meghan is back in the spotlight, every lingering controversy returns with her. Either way, the result is the same. One issue ignites another, and soon they blend into a single storm, where lawsuits, personal history, and unanswered questions all collide at once. Once a whisper escapes into the open, it almost never stays small. In Meghan Markle's case, the way questions about her age spread shows how rumor can slowly harden into something that feels like fact. It often begins with a spark, a graduation year that doesn't align, a Northwestern photo where classmates appear noticeably older. One outlet frames it as an exclusive, another repeats it with a slight twist. An old image resurfaces, an unnamed source adds context, and within hours the claim exists everywhere. Repetition does the rest. People stop asking if it's true and start saying they've heard it before. The rumor embeds itself into her public narrative, lingering no matter how often it's denied. If those alternate birth years were true, 1977, 1976, even 1975, It would suggest a hidden stretch of time, 4 to 6 years missing from a carefully polished biography. That gap isn't just about age. It raises questions about where she was, what she was doing, who she knew, and why those years never fully appear. In a tightly managed life story, missing time is rarely accidental. In Hollywood, adjusting an age can be strategy, not scandal. Youth opens doors. But Meghan didn't remain only an actress. She entered royalty, where dates and records are meant to be permanent. What might have been image management and entertainment becomes a historical issue in a royal context. So the question lingers. Is this all coincidence? Odd photos, mismatched timelines, harmless inconsistencies? Or is it strategy, a biography shaped to fit a specific image? When the same contradictions resurface again and again, it becomes harder to dismiss them as random. Patterns, once seen, have a weight of their own. Documents that can be revised. Photos that appear only at the perfect moment. Legal battles that mysteriously revive old questions. Eventually, coincidence begins to feel like design. And that's where this story truly ends. Not on a specific number, but on what that number represents. This was never just about whether Meghan Markle is 44 or 50. It's about how a life becomes a brand, and how every detail, from a high school photo to a royal birth certificate, can be curated, adjusted, and redeployed to support a chosen narrative. Look at the pattern. The salsa club photo surrounded by classmates nearly a decade older. Alternative birth years that refuse to disappear. A royal document quietly amended weeks after Archie's birth. School images that resurface only when scrutiny peaks. A lawsuit that reliably pulls the age question back into headlines. These moments don't sit randomly across time. They align. Brick by brick, they form a structure designed to keep something just out of view. Maybe the official story is accurate. Maybe it isn't. But one thing is clear. The story has been shaped. And the more carefully it's managed, the more attention the gaps attract. Because every public narrative has an earlier draft. And sometimes, the truth lives in the version we were never meant to see.